What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we just had this week little updates, little press conferences from both Google and Microsoft. Microsoft went first. They kind of introduced us to kind of the new Bing and Edge, which is their browser that I think people know about. This is what they talked about: search, answers, chat, and create. Kind of different things. On the internet, they're going to have this little companion, AI companion, as you're strolling the internet. Yes, jokes about Clippy have already been made, so rest assured people see the connection there. And also search, like the core search, I think because of their partnership with OpenAI, the core search in Bing now uses ChatGPT 4. And it just kind of lists things better, I think, because the AI is so the greatest, they say. So the core default kind of search in Bing has been improved. You can kind of talk to it and get direct answers from Bing. You can have a conversation with Bing, kind of like a person. You treat like a person and get chat. Google had some interesting things as well. It didn't focus too much on Bard and its kind of search updates and its homepage updates. It said it's with trusted testers right now and it'll come later. I was kind of disappointed. I thought there'd be more on that. But they did have some interesting things, to be fair. Google talked about kind of maps, and they really showed some interesting thing with maps, and it's kind of like a living 3D world, and they have this AI for maps where you can go inside a coffee shop and it generates what it might look like inside the building, and it's, well, that's really cool. You can go inside buildings now inside of maps. It's really getting in there. Anyway, what I do want to focus on here is Bing and Microsoft, what they've done. They did, this is the new Bing, the new upgraded Bing webpage. This is what it kind of looks like. It kind of wants you to try their new kind of conversation method here. Some updated news here, and you can ask me anything, and it's a very big search box now, 1,000 characters. So it kind of encourages you to talk to it. Like, they have this kind of walkthrough where you can test it out. I'm not in the insider program yet, but write a poem that rhymes from an 8-year-old Jake. He loves dogs and facts about the ocean. So try it on Bing. And here we go. It's demonstrated here. We can, okay, I'll write a poem that rhymes for Jake. Here's what I came up with. Hi, like, curiously, he knows that dogs are loyal, friends, and smart. That doesn't rhyme yet. They can do many tricks, and they have a big heart. There we go. So it does rhyme. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. It does go to the website here. You can type other popular related searches, recent, code, letter, poem. What happens if I write story? Oh, it's just other examples. Buddy was, so here's a story for you. So this is AI in action. This is it. It's giving you a little test. As I say, I'm not in the insider program, but you can test it out. You can do this yourself, and this is pretty cool. So one kind of thing I did notice, kind of the basics of this here. So you can see this is new. This big gray box here in the middle. This is in between me and with my search and the results. There's this AI factor in search now. This is obviously coming, right? This is the next thing. So the huge question is, what's fair? What's fair use? If you're using information that's been scraped from different web pages and they're not getting clicked on, how do these web pages get recognized? How do they get ad revenue? How do they get clicks? How do they get anything? If you just take the data from them, we put it into AI in this box here. You know, what's going on with all these other publishers and creators and reporters on the internet that do this for their webpage? What, they're just doing it for free, just to supply AI with data? It doesn't seem fair. So that's a big question here. So this is Nilay from The Verge, which is a website that publishes data that wants clicks and ad revenue and etc. and all that type of thing. And he sits down with the CEO of Microsoft. He just did this, and he asked them basically this exact question, and it's an interesting question.
So in a traditional search model, I ask Bing some question. It might return some snippet, but it usually returns a list of links. I go visit a web page. The creator of that web page might capture some advertising revenue or something else. Mm-hmm. Now you're just answering the question directly. Yeah, you've trained the model on other people's information, other people's reporting. I'm pretty biased in favor of reporting. How do you make sure that they get the value back?
It's a very important, in fact,
so he's asking the exact question I mentioned there. He's saying that there's this AI that you're trying to train and be the interceptor between the search and the internet, the links. What's going on there? You might face some scrutiny. So he's got a pretty good answer.
One of the biggest things that is different about the way we've done the design, I would really encourage people to go look at it. This is about, look, at the end of the day, search is about fair use.
I'm so glad he said that. Search, at the end of the day, search is about fair use. So he makes me think he's got the right idea. I think he has some compassion for creators and publishers. I'm pretty sure he does. I hope he's not just saying these things, because, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, who are on the internet who are worried about this.
Ultimately, all this content we only get to use inside of a search engine if you're generating traffic for the people who create it. And so that's why, if you look at whether it's in the answer, whether it's in chat, these are just a different way to represent the 10 blue links, more in the context of what the user wants. So the core measure, even what SEO looks like, if anything, that'll be the thing in the next multiple.
Honestly, he gives a really good answer to a hard question. I think Bing and Microsoft, they have done a really good job. They put the sources in the stuff they create. The links are there, so you can kind of get like an idea of what they're talking about, and you can click on the link. The question is that going to be sustainable for the long term? Is it going to work, or is it just going to suck links out of real content?
Years we'll all learn. Perhaps there will be new incentives in SEO to even generate more authoritative content that then gets in.
He's saying some exciting things. He's talking a lot about how there might be new ways of having data created, and I'm curious how that might look. You know, I wonder if we're going to have, like, okay, you publish data, you kind of have the right to that data to be fed into an AI, and that's where you get paid. You get paid for just creating the data that AI can use. You get paid for having the training data for AI. That's what humans end up being. I don't know.
Everything you saw there had annotations, everything was linkable, and that'll be the goal, whether it's inside a search, whether it's in the answer, or even in the chat session.
But if I ask the new Bing, what are the 10 best gaming TVs, and it just makes me a list, why should I, the user, then click on the link to The Verge, which has another list of the 10 best gaming TVs?
Good question. Why
Well,
would
I
you do
mean,
that?
that's a great question. But even there, you will sort of say, hey, where did these things come from? And would you want to go dig in? Like that,
I hope so.
even search today has that. Like we have
might
answers.
work out.
They may not be as high quality answers.
So the CEO of Microsoft made a good point. He's like, that exists today. Google sometimes will just make a very quick answer in between your search and the result, and they'll try and answer your question. Sometimes that does exist today, and sometimes it does happen. But even that has some scrutiny. Publishers were like, hey, what is this? This is already happening. You're inserting that layer between the search and the content, and they got some backlash over that. So it's interesting. There's lots of questions here. This layer between what used to be direct, search results. What is this AI layer? How many questions is it really going to answer? Nilay asked kind of a similar question. He references kind of now not just search results and text. He talks a little bit about images, and he asks a similar question.
I just want to come back to this. I think you are going to face a lot of scrutiny from publishers, creators, other website owners saying, hey, that is our training data. You're already seeing it, right? Getty is suing a handful of the image generation AI companies, saying, hey, you're generating results with our watermark in it. This is obviously ours.
Pretty
so
clear.
I'm curious if you have a view of the potential IP risk on the downside or on the positive side of how to grow and keep the ecosystem vibrant.
I mean, on the search side, I'm very, very clear. The search category is about fair use so that we can generate traffic back to publishers. And so that's sort of, we want to stay very...
And is that a KPI that you're keeping track of traffic you're sending out?
100%. That's the only way we're going to be, our bots are not going to be allowed to crawl search if we are not driving traffic. So
he's saying all the right things. Again, he's very good at answering these questions, and I hope I can trust him and believe in what he's saying, and it does work out for everyone. He's kind of saying in simple terms, his job as the search engine is to just connect people to the data, and he's kind of saying AI is just a good way to do that. It's just the next way of doing that. It's going to work out. Anyway, pretty cool stuff coming from Microsoft. I gotta tip my hat to the CEO of Microsoft, and what Microsoft had is a showing. They've been in with ChatGPT, OpenAI for years now. They've kind of developing this for years. Actually, I think Google's been in this longer, to be fair. And Google seems to be a little bit behind. They were kind of trying to respond to ChatGPT in November. Now it kind of seems like they have to respond to Microsoft. I guess it's kind of like one entity, but it feels like Google's playing catch up. Will this little AI assistant that's floating around the internet with you, will he be welcome? Will he be good? I don't know. Now, Microsoft talks a lot about how in GitHub, I think they own GitHub, there's this little AI assistant who I think he helps you write code, and it seems like you're kind of copying that model now. Anyone on the internet can use it with their search. It's kind of, maybe the model will work. Well done, Microsoft. You're a player in the game in this, as you say, the biggest software opportunity in the world is, I think, what they said. And I'm super curious to see what Google's response is. I'll definitely be covering when Bard is released to the masses, and we'll take a look at that. So check me out next time. See you guys.